Question number 5, Andrew Little.
Again, Mr Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister. Has he sought an explanation from Paula Bennett as to why the number of 18 to 24-year-olds...
Order. Can I just ask the member to read the question as it is on the sheet? Order.
Oh, sorry.
Order. Order.
You should try answering.
And none of us need the advice and assistance from the Prime Minister. Andrew Little.
Thank you. Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister might want to spend more time on the Cabinet Manual than he does on the standing orders. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister.
Oh, these old drivers.
Order. 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 We've now spent enough time with interjections coming from both sides of the House. If I need to get a bit more forceful, I can do so. Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Question is to the Prime Minister. Has he sought an explanation from the Minister for Social Development as to why the number of 18 to 24-year-olds receiving the Jobseeker Support Work Ready payment who have been on a benefit for more than a year is rising?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Why are there 30% more young people on the Jobseekers allowance today than in 2012?
The
Mr Speaker,
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I can't verify that number, but what I can verify is that the number of 18 to 24-year-olds on Jobseeker Support has fallen 14% over the last 5 years.
Order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Andrew Little.
I seek leave to table a document from the Parliamentary Library showing that the 18 to 24-year-old job seeker numbers calculation from 2012 to 2016 showing that 30% increase.
I will put the leave sought to table that particular document. Is there any objection? There is objection.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Why are there 11,400 more young people not in employment, education or training now than in 2008?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I can't verify those numbers, but the truth is Labor can't verify their own numbers even when they call it a policy.
Order. Order. This is a point of order and it will be heard in silence. Andrew Little, point of order.
I seek leave to table calculations made by the Parliamentary Library showing young people not in employment, education or training from 2008 to 2016 increased to 11,400.
I will put the leave sought to table that particular document from the Parliamentary Library. Is there any objection to it being tabled? There is. Order. Order. I put the leave. It's over to the
I'm trying to, but you won't let me.
Order. 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 The front bench on to my right and certainly some members to my left need to settle down and minimise the interjection. Andrew Little,
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why does his government think these young people are, to quote Bill English, pretty damn hopeless?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Firstly, that's inaccurate. But secondly, Mr Speaker, actually, if one looks at the people in the category of 15 to 24-year-olds, what we know is that the number of people who are not in education, employment or training have been dropping dramatically. In fact, the 15 to 19-year-olds is nearly at the lowest that it's been since the series was collated. And Mr Speaker, given the strength of the labour markets, Mr Speaker, I would have thought the best thing to do was to ensure that those youngsters get an opportunity for a real job.
Yeah.
Supplementary.
What have you been doing?
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he stand by his statement that unemployed young people, quotes, just cannot muster what is required to actually work? And if so, why has he given up on 74,000 young New Zealanders?
That's right.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Prime
Ask
Minister.
the Leader of the Opposition to verify that
Order.
I made that statement.
Order. 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 That's not a point of order. Now, the question's now been disrupted. I think the only fair way forward is to invite the member to ask the question again.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does he stand by his statement that unemployed young people, quotes, just cannot muster what is required to actually work? And if so, why has he given up on 74,000 young New Zealanders?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I would have to, if it's a genuine quote and not made up, I'd have to see in what context it was made.
This is outrageous. You can't.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
When will he stop talking down our young people as lazy and drug-addled and instead invest in their futures and get them ready for work just as Labor is proposing to do?
Mr. Speaker.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, if one looks at the economic reforms undertaken by this government and the results of them, you'd have to say they're pretty stunning, and they include an unemployment rate that is the lowest since 2008, 357,000 more jobs since 2009, 35,000 jobs in the last quarter. Mr. Speaker, more people in apprenticeship training than we've seen in a very long time, 42,000. Far from talking down young New Zealanders, Mr. Speaker, we're creating opportunities for them. And just because the leader of the opposition can't actually get a policy right at his 100th annual conference, and now has been known as Angry Andrew with the journalists.
Order. We've certainly gone far enough now. Order. I don't want to hear that interjection across the House. Supplementary question, Derek Ball.
Supplementary to the Prime Minister. Can you confirm that the National New Zealand First Coalition government in 1996 included New Zealand First's community wage scheme, which was aimed at providing minimum wage work for long-term beneficiaries like clearing waterways for dock?
Order. Order. No, there is no order. There's just no prime ministerial responsibility for that at all. Order. I hope them. Order. I've made a ruling. It's not open to debate. If the member has a fresh point of order, I'm only too happy to hear it. But if it's anyway questioning where we've just been, I think that's a very wise decision by the member. Supplementary question, Derek Ball.
Has he seen any reports that can confirm that the National New Zealand First Coalition government in 1996 included New Zealand First community wage scheme, which was aimed at providing minimum wage work for long-term beneficiaries like clearing waterways for dock?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes, I've seen a report that said when one looked at the calibre of the New Zealand First members that became part of that cabinet, that truly was a make-work scheme for them.
Order. 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 If Mr. Chris Bishop wishes to stay for the rest of the day, then when I rise to my feet, he shuts up. Supplementary question, Derek Ball.
Has he seen reports that show that the New Zealand First community wage scheme from the coalition agreement bears a canny resemblance to a newly announced policy, Ready for Work, the very policy that Labor scrapped in 2001, putting those 18 to 24-year-olds who were on that scheme back on the dole with nothing?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No, but Mr. Speaker, what I can say is 20 years on, if one looks at the state of the labour markets, given how many jobs are being created, I think the average New Zealander would say it makes a lot more sense to put those youngsters into a real job, which they are actually in the process of getting in quite record numbers, as opposed to sending them bush.
Question.